a little bit earlier, we discussed Joe Biden, and I want to get to one thing about Biden. He just gave an interview with the New York Times, commenting on his basically the clemency decisions that were made in the waning hours of his administration. And I think it's always nice to check back on how Brandon is doing, how he's feeling, and what he's thinking. I guess he's like, this is in the news because the Trump administration and his surrogates have tried to make a big deal of the sort of the use of the Autopen and all of this. And so the Times reached out to Biden and to get some of his thoughts on this. So first, on who made the clemency decisions. Biden says, I made every single one of those, and including the categories when we set this up to begin with. And so, but I understand why Trump would think that, because obviously, I guess he doesn't focus much anyway. So yes, I made every decision. And then he says on why an Autopen was used to sign the warrants. And he says, because there were a lot of them. On the use of that Autopen, he says, the Autopen is, legal. As you know, other presidents used it, including Trump. But the point is that, we're talking about a whole lot of people.
Honestly, you should be able to use Touch ID or Face ID to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to just hold your phone up to it.
He says, on Trump and other Republicans saying Biden was incapacitated and his aides abused the Autopen. They're liars. They know it. They know for certain. I mean, look at what they've had a pretty good thing going here. They've done so badly. They've lied so consistently about almost everything they're doing. The best thing they can do is try to change the focus and focus on something else. And I think that's what this is about. It's consistent with Trump's game plan all along. I mean, I don't expect you to answer any questions, but if I told you 3 years ago we'd have a president doing this, I think you'd look me in the eye and say, what are you, crazy? I think I would have responded to Biden that way if he told me or said anything to me.
I hate it when these guys go in for these supposedly candid interviews and have these slick, prepared lines like this. Just a perfect monologue that they can recite.
Man, would it really even matter if, like, Jake Sullivan was signing all those papers? Like, who cares? Like, it wouldn't even be good if he was signing them all by hand. Like, he shouldn't have been president. Does it even matter?
We saw him, like, die so many times.
Like, he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know his own name. Like, who cares? The whole thing is a charade. It doesn't matter if someone else signed it.
We saw his staffers would have to, like, jolt him and do admin kick when his scripting path got fucked up. Like, remember when he would do a presser and then try to, like, wander into the wall like a sim?
Yeah,
and
he would find, like, invisible walls
like,
on the stage.
Yeah, his body man would, like, they would just go, okay, just hit him a few times. It seems to reset him.
You put him in a room and he's like a game tester. He's just bumping into every object to just see, like, if you can get stuck on anything, if there's a glitch.
This is how we used to do collision testing back when I was a kid.
You got to go in every corner. You got to bump into every bookshelf because you might get stuck and just go around in a circle. You have to reset the whole system.
He says, on granting preemptive pardons to his family, he replies, in terms of my fam, go after me through my family. I know how vindictive...
Will, did he say in terms of my fam?
He did, but, like, I don't think he was saying.
He's trying to win over Andrew Schultz.
I've done a hell of a lot of things in my life. Did 1,000 things. Got a car. One thing I'll tell you, Anthony. I never capped. You could put that on the bank.
I mean, this is just how it's written in the Times. I think he begins to say family, and then he pauses and says, go after me through my family. I know how vindictive he is. I mean, everybody knows how vindictive he is. So we knew that they do what they're doing now. Laughs.
We knew they do what they're doing now.
And this is like on orally communicating his decisions to aides. Well, first of all, there's categories. So, they aren't reading names off for the communications of those who had been home confinements during the pandemic. I'm going to read that one again. So,
yeah, please.
So, they aren't reading names off for the commutations for those who had been home confinements during the pandemic. So the only thing that we really read off names for were, for example, I was what I was going to do about, for instance, Mark Miley. Mark's a good guy. We know how vindictive Trump is, and I no doubt they would have gone after Mark for no good reason. The general, so they may read off his name. What I want. I told them,
is this Casper Hauser?
Why do they even let him out anymore?
Yeah. What is being gained by that? I mean, Biden definitely is one of those old people where it's like, what the hell you mean I can't drive anymore?
Yeah.
And then he just plows through the town's post office. Fuck you. He's not letting anyone take anything away from him. I'm sure Hunter was his chief enabler during during the Brandon bunker end period. So I'm sure that there are West exec shitheads surrounding him that are trying to prevent this from happening. And Hunter's like, what do you mean? He's going to prove how sharp he is. And he's finally going to take these assholes that derided his administration to task.
Going on, he says, on deciding to pardon former Alabama Governor Don Siegelman, then changing his mind the next day.
That's a good prank.
That is pretty good. Like being some piece of shit governor and being like, oh, I'm getting away with it again. Whoops. No, you're not.
Yeah, texting all your friends. You're on JPay using the rest of your commissary money. I'm about to get out, dude. It's going to be so sick. Party at my place.
Rent a limo to take me home.
This is on Don Siegelman. He says, look, Siegelman was out of jail. He had served his time and so he wasn't in jeopardy. And what I concluded was and these aren't easy decisions, but there are a lot of people who are considered for pardons. And I was proud I ran the process I ran. These decisions took time. In this case, I viewed the facts, reflected on it a bit more, and deliberated more on it with my team, and decided not to grant the pardon. And I didn't make this decision quickly. I made it thoroughly and after significant discussions.
No one thinks you made it quickly. I'll make that clear right now.
Yeah. He should have pardoned all the January 6 people. Imagine if he had done that on his last day. Just imagine how weird that would have been. Like, what would the Republicans have done? What would Trump do? What would he say?
Put him back in jail.
Yeah, put him back in jail. These Democrats.
Biden should have pardoned all the January 6 people and thanked them for their efforts in helping him do the false flag to make Trump look bad.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great.
God. Yeah, like when the mafia, the
Thank
FBI,
you for instigating violence at the Capitol. It really made him look bad.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all my agents who participated in the operation.
And then posthumously give the Medal of Honor to Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah. Doing that thing that the FBI does where they'll just pick up a random mobster and conspicuously drive around with him in the back so he has to rat now because everyone already thinks he's a rat.
Yeah.
That would be, if he wasn't senile, he would have done that.
That would be awesome.
God. Trump just kills all of them.
Yeah, they know too much.
On adding a last-minute pardon for former South Carolina politician after Representative Jim Clyburn lobbied for it. Well, when Jim asks, you answer. He says, the case that Jim, and I have great faith in Jim, the plea he made at the very end was that he made a compelling case that he was a person who had dedicated his life to public service, Marty. Since his release from prison, he became really involved in the community, helping underprivileged kids, staying active with his church, and he's someone who had been praised for his leadership and compassion for others. So the very thing that he sort of got in trouble for, he was not only served time, but he was making up for it. And I believe granting him the pardon was the right thing to do.
Well, why does he even need the pardon?
Who is this guy, Marty? What is this referring to? Do you guys have any idea?
I don't know.
Marty?
I've never heard of him. But if he's out of jail and it's not like a high profile thing, like pardoning Jack Johnson or some atrocity like that from back in the day, like the guy's out of jail. He's
okay. This is
active in the community. Like, what does he be? Is this old guy gonna try to get a job? And he's like he can't work for Amazon because he's got a felony. We're talking about an 80-year-old guy who's at a
this is
what are we doing?
This is William E.W. Cromartie, who is a South Carolina politician who served prison time for tax evasion.
Okay. So we know this is a final favor for Clyburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is. I
Yeah,
took
he
one
owes him a
look at
favor.
Crow Marty, and
All right, this is the best answer though. Wait, no, he says what he was doing now, that was almost a continuation of his apology for what the hell happened when he committed the offense. So I agreed with Jim and I pardoned him, and he's still a decent. This guy is still engaged, stayed engaged with the community. So
That guy's 74. Like, what does it matter if he has a felony on his record? Who gives a shit?
yeah, and like also like when he says like he gets out of prison for tax evasion, and then he's like being active in the community and like his church. Like that's something you say about like a gang member who gets out of prison after killing someone. Like it's like
Yeah.
like wow, like this politician gets out of jail and then reconnects with the community.
Also, you know what
Yeah.
doesn't pay taxes? The church.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
just a form of tax evasion.
yeah, it's like that the community is where like a shitty bagman for Jim Clyburn like does all his crimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I do love that though. It's like we had to do this so he could move out of his halfway house. Girls on Tinder were asking Crow Marty if he was a felon, and he didn't want to lie to them.
Yeah. Like if someone gets out of jail for a felony and you say, yeah, they've just been sitting in their room. They don't come out of their house anymore. They just like sit in their room. Like that's probably better. It's like, oh yeah, well, okay.
Not
I
causing
don't
any
want
more
him out in the
problems.
community. Like that's where it happened. That's the scene of the crime is the community.
Yeah, I don't know like the mechanics of like however Jim Clyburn is like, getting his porch refinished. But I imagine it involves a lot of guys like this, like
Well,
going
Felix,
around the community.
I'm glad you asked that. He does it he starts by painting his porch and then waits till the neighborhood kids ask him what he's doing. And then he's
Clyburn was the first guy to do that. That's how old he is.
listen, we're pardoning Huck Finn. He didn't mean to say all those things. This is my favorite answer to that he gives to the question. It says on why he did not commute the sentences of 3 death row inmates to life without parole when he did so for the other 37. So I apparently like he took 37 people off death row except for 3 guys. And he says those 3, because they were involved in what were major issues relating to terrorism and crimes that had national implications. One, for example, I was deeply involved in the one having to do with the church, and I was down there. I don't know what that's referring to. Maybe Dylan Roof. He just says, it just seemed to me that it was just a bridge too far. And so that's why I didn't pardon those 3, because they had a national implication that stood for things beyond the crime they committed. It was a reflection of what they did to the entire nation and the community. And so that's why I withheld them. I spoke to the Pope about this, by the way. I had a discussion about, he called me to congratulate me on keeping my word about not supporting the death penalty. What, except for those 3 guys? It's like, either you support the death penalty or you don't.
Well, did they ask him about how he commuted the sentence of that judge in Pennsylvania?
The Cash for Kids guy?
Yeah.
I don't think that is in the New York Times dossier of questions.
That was shocking.
Yeah, it's like the pardoning the
did that.
turkey thing. Like I didn't kill one of them.
Yeah.
Like what are you getting across morally here? I don't know. Is that good? Like I don't know. I don't get it.
I know, and he says so. The Pope called him. He called me to congratulate me on keeping my word about not supporting the death penalty, but I told him I couldn't do the last 3, and that's the reason, because it's sort of like the guy who I'm making this up assassinates Abraham Lincoln. He forgot the name of John Wilkes Booth. He says, "You don't."
I'm making this up.
we don't want to make him famous. We don't want to make him famous. He wants to be remembered.
Yeah, he goes. I'm sorry. I just got to keep reading these twice. But I told him I couldn't do the last 3, and that's the reason, because it's sort of like the guy who I'm making this up assassinates Abraham Lincoln. You can't pardon him because there's such a gigantic implication for things that could go well beyond the individual murder. That was my decision anyway. Some thought I should have, but I decided not to do those 3.
It's good that he clarified that it's not a real story. That he didn't actually have the pardon letter for John Wilkes Booth on his desk. It would be like 217.
But like, and it's like, why would you need to use that as an example when you're they're asking you about the actual 3 cases where you like, oh, it
Yeah,
is
like maybe they would have hypothetically killed a president. It's like on that level of seriousness.
But like
But then Andrew Johnson came along and like Andrew Johnson, he came along after Lincoln died and said like, "Oh, it's all good. Don't worry about it."
Well,
like they still executed like the actual killers, but they gave clemency to a lot of people over a lot of things.